Hi, it's Susan. Welcome back to my channel. Today I've got something a little bit different. I see some posts all over Facebook and on other YouTube channels. People want to know what kind of books that they should be looking for to use in their junk journals. So I have collected way too many of them, and I buy mostly off of eBay, usually using thrift books, but I do look for them elsewhere when we're around town. But what happens when you're trying to buy something online is you can't really see all the pictures. So I thought I would go through some of my favorite books to use in journals, and you can see what they are and you can keep your eye out for them. Now, before I start showing you these, you need to know this is great. You can buy these books, you can cut them up, you can use them in your journals. What you can't do is buy the book, scan the pictures, and use those in your journals that you're going to sell. You cannot do that. That's what copyright means. You own the book, but you do not own the right to copy anything in that book. Okay, that's the only disclaimer I have. I will start off with our absolute favorite, everybody's favorite, Edith Holden, Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. And we love this book because of the feel of the papers, the beautiful illustrations, the unique font. This is awesome, and it is on eBay, it is in used bookstores. You can buy it often Amazon used copies. Of course, everybody's looking for them, so it kind of goes with supply and demand whether you can get a good deal on them. But this is a great book. There are several other Edith Holden books, like this one, Nature Notes of an Edwardian Lady. Maybe you wondered what was in there and was that worth picking up. Look at this in paper. Love this. I have this in paperback. The pages are all still that wonderful kind of a creamy color. You've got the beautiful font, and again, you've got beautiful images, and this is going through the entire year. Beautiful, beautiful images. I'm still in frame, yep. Might have a few shadows coming in here, I apologize for that. These are, let's see, this book is about 7 by 8.5 inches. So you could use those, in a journal without too much trouble, without having to fold things over. Some great poems in there. So not quite as many images as the Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady, but still very nice. And then this is a biography about Edith Holden, and it has a lot of black and white pictures in it, but it does have some other artwork in it that is all nature-based, and it might be of interest. These are really pretty. But as you can see, a lot of old black and white photos, so not the color, watercolor kind of feel pictures that we're used to seeing. There are a few images in here that are in color, but for the most part, it's the black and white photos. Those are the 3 Edith Holdens. Oh, this video will be all flowers, and I think I'm going to do 3 more videos. I'll have another one on animals, another one on birds, and then a miscellaneous one, because I have, like I said, way too many books. This is The Painted Garden, A Year in Words and Watercolors by Mary Wooden. And oh, look at this. These are just beautiful. They're a great size. The paper is a heavyweight, so you could definitely make pockets out of these. And this is just really, really nice images to use in here. And it's a nice size. This one is, let's see, we are at about 6.5 by 7.5 inches. So this would also, this book cover itself would be a very nice shape to recover and make into another journal. Nice heavy paper, and you could watercolor on this yourself as well. An interesting font. So there's that. Let's see, this one, I think several people have talked about this. It's one of Tracy Fox's favorites. It's one of Gibbon Neary's. I think these are the ones I remember. Yeah, because these are the British ones, and I was able to find one of these in our little local stores. Oh no, this one came from Thrift Books. Garden Flowers, a Ladybird book. And all the Ladybird books are about this size, I think. Not all of them have this kind of an old vintage style artwork in them, but the older ones do. And so these have got some great images. And this is Okay, this book is 4 by 6 inches. So that's a really nice size to make tags. And the paper is a nice weight. It's not flimsy. And I just love that vintage look to the pages. This is something I remember from my childhood, and I couldn't believe I had to go back out and buy it. But this is a Golden Nature Guide, flowers, and they have them under a lot of different topics. The newer ones have color photographs in them, but some of the older ones have got nicer images. It's a slight gloss to a paper, but not a shiny thing. It's just you can see where they were transitioning. It's got still a very vintage look to it, and the books are small, so the pictures are small, and you can use them in lots of things. Every page has got, you know, just great. Oh, I love that. Blue-eyed grass, one of my favorite California native plants. So this is a good one, and this book is about 3.5 by 5.5. This one is The Country Flowers of a Victorian Lady by Fanny Robinson. Again, you've got some beautiful font work, you've got some nice corner images, you've got some poems. These are just beautiful. It's a heavyweight paper. And again, remember, these are images that if you buy the book, you can cut the book apart and do things with it. You cannot scan the images in this book and use them in your books to sell. You cannot scan the images and put them in a digital kit, but they are great to cut apart and use in journals that you're going to make. So these are just every page, there's something on here to use. This was definitely worth purchasing as far as I was concerned. And let's see, following with the Victorian theme, we've got the Victorian Garden Album, compiled by Elizabeth Drury and Philippia, I'm sorry for mangling that, Lewis. I just love that cover alone, the dust cover. Now this one's got a combination of black and white and color, but it's got, now see, that'd be great if you're doing a spring journal. That would fit right on there. This is a landscape format in this book. Can't pick up my ruler. All right, and this book is 9.5 by 7.5. And why I'm giving you the measurements is, to me, you know, I've got some oversized books that are very difficult to work with because they're so big and they're very difficult to figure out how you can, you know, fussy cut either the images or fold the papers in such a way that you can use them. So lots of small one color images, and then you've got some color images as well in here. If you're looking for the old seed catalog or seed packets, a lot of the seed packets are still under copyright even though they are old. You can find them at the Smithsonian, but I haven't been able to find any that are okay to use. I can find garden catalogs, but not the actual seed packets. So this is a combination, like I said, of color and black and white, but if you can find it for a good price, I think it's got some great images in there. All right, what else do we have here? My stack is going to overwhelm me in no time. This is Wildflowers. Galahad Books. Interesting, I don't see. So these are engravings of old art pieces, art masterpieces. So it's from Galahad Books, and these are a nice size image as well to use. The book is about 7.5 by 9.5, and a nice weight paper. So you've got, these are good images to fussy cut. I know, because everybody loves to fussy cut. Okay, I'm not going to fussy cut that, but that would be a great envelope, right? Or a page all on its own. So this has got some nice images, and they still look kind of vintagey. You know, you've got, because they are replicas of some old masters. They're not watercolors like some of the other ones, but still they're nice images. But some of them do get larger. So if you have a need for larger images, this might be a book you want to check out. And then there's, of course, interesting information about each of the plants. So maybe you want this information to put, if you're doing like a specimen card, you might have this plant in your garden, and then you could copy this information, type it out, and put on a little specimen card to put in your journal. All right, so that is Wildflowers from Galahad Books. And let's see, we have, oh, this was another Edith Holden one. If you're wondering what this looks like on the inside, this is the Country Diary Garden Notes by Edith Holden. And it's got our same, you know, kind of creamy paper. And it's got, what's nice about this, it's got the month like this, but it doesn't have a year. So you could use this in a journal if you're doing a planner. You could use these pages to do that. Lots of, again, those wonderful Edith Holden illustrations in here. Just beautiful, beautiful. All right, then we have, oh, this is a monster of a book. This is one of the Taschen books, so it's a very modern book, but the pictures in here I just couldn't resist when I saw this on the shelf. Florilegium, I won't even try and pronounce that correctly, but it's the Book of Plants, the Complete Plates by Taschen. I mean, that sunflower right there alone was worth it for me, just about. And so there's just beautiful, beautiful vintage images in here. So it is a slightly glossy paper. It is printed on both sides, so you will have to make a decision whether you use this picture or that picture. But all it is, page after page, plates of these beautiful plants. They look like there's a little bit of text in there. That's not very much, considering how thick this book is. And it's a nice sized book. It's about 5.5 by 7.5. So all of these pages are going to fit in all of your journals, other than, you know, your minis, which you would have to cut things down for anyways. So that's a nice one. Another one, and I think this is on a lot of people's favorite books list, The Complete Handbook of Garden Plants by Michael Wright. And I mean, I liked it so much, you can see I've torn this one apart, that I had to get another copy. And this is a small book. This is about 5 inches by 7 inches. But the size of the pictures is perfect. There is a lot of fussy cutting to do around here, but my goodness, the amount of images that you can get in this is just terrific. Grasses, just all kinds. And they're only printed on one side, so you don't have to make a decision, do I use this page or do I do the other page? So that's the Garden Book of Plants by Michael Wright. Then we have, this is the Royal Horticultural Society Treasury of Garden Verse. I've discovered that many of the books put out by the Royal Horticultural Society are beautiful to use. And a lot of them have got watercolors or vintagey looking images in them. I love this one because it was all about the seasons. So you've got poetry that goes along with it, and you can use the poems in your journal. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? So this is kind of a twofer. You get the beautiful images and you get the poems. If you have any questions about any of the specific books, let me know down in the comments and I'll go back. I thought about giving you page numbers and things, but if you want to know that, let me know and I will look them up for you. This is another version of the Golden Book of Flowers. It's the paperback version, but it still has the vintagey looking images in there. And these are just a great size. It's a small book, so it's a really great size for cutting up. Here's another book from the Royal Horticultural Society. This is their Treasury of Flowers. And I'm finding these, you know, even on Amazon at a really good bargain price. Beautiful. So there's these all have writings about the flowers with them. So again, this would be really good. You could use each page. It's a nice heavyweight paper. It is kind of more of a white than a cream, but you know what? You could spray some tea on there and you'd be good to go. Distress it a little bit. I love that. Hellebore. And these, I think, are all just printed. Nope, they're printed on 2 sides, so you will have to make a decision as to which image to use. And this book is about 5 by 7. Some beautiful images, and they look vintagey, so they would go in your vintage journals. Not all of them are full page, so you've got images in several sizes. And yet another from the Royal Horticultural Society, old diaries that a lot of people have never even written in, and they can be found really cheap because, of course, that time has passed, and the diary part of it isn't useful, but the images, look at those. Those are vintage images. This particular one is about 6.5 by 9. So the images are larger, so you have to think about how you could use those. But the images are just absolutely stunning. So I find the Royal Horticultural Society books are very reasonable most of the places that I go looking for them. Here's another Victorian one. This is a Victorian flower album by Henry Terry. It's another landscape format. And the entire book is 10.5 by 8.5 inches. Let's see. Very old paper. This paper kind of brittle feeling, so it might crack. So you have to think about how you're going to use that in such a way that the paper doesn't crack. But look at this font. Isn't that beautiful? And so it's all about plants. And then you have these wonderful images here. This image of spring, crocuses. Look at here. I don't think I can get the entire book in frame. But there are some really, really lovely images. But because this is landscape, I like the idea that you could make a journal out of this, put this in the center fold here, and your images are going to be facing the right way. I'm not a fan of having the images fold out that direction in my journals. So every page, that's it. You've just got image after image after image. I don't know, this might not, it seems like maybe that first couple pages seemed like they were brittle, but the rest of this is just a nice heavy paper, so maybe it's not going to crack. I haven't used one in a journal yet. But that's a Victorian flower album by Henry Terry. And then the last one, this is Wildflowers of America. It's a huge book. It is about 11.5 by, 8.5 by 11. And so it's a thick book. It's got a lot of information about flowers. We found this at a store that was going out, a bookstore that was going out of business. I love the paper. It's got that creamy color, but the images are very large. So you would have to think about how you were going to use such large images or use what part of the image. But still, for having paper like this, they'd make some great envelopes. If you have a way that you like to use oversized images in your journals, I would love to hear about it down in the comments. And this is just page after page. Honestly, that one's smaller, so some of them are smaller. But for the most part, they are full page images, which is beautiful for identifying, your plants, but less beautiful for using in journals. So that is a stack of floral books that I look for online when I'm looking for books to use in my journals. And again, I will say one more time, remember, you can buy the book, you can cut the book up, you can tear apart the images, you can use those in journals and then sell those journals. What you cannot do is you cannot scan the images in these books and then sell them, and you absolutely cannot scan the images and put them in a digital kit of any kind. But go ahead and check out the thrift stores, check out the online shops, and find yourself some beautiful books and make some beautiful journals. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time. Bye for now.